So week 16 on its way. I can't believe this fantasy season is just about over next week. And if you made the championship, congratulations to you. But here's 5 quarterbacks you could add on waivers to help you win this week if you need them in the championship. The first guy's Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles. Hurts, what a ball game he had yesterday versus the Arizona Cardinals with 338 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 rushes, 63 yards, and a rushing touchdown as well. So he had a huge game with Hurts. He's making plays, and this guy, he's definitely going to be the starter, I believe, for this Eagle team next season. And Carson Wentz will be out of town, and Hurts to put up a 44-point fantasy day in his second career start. What a game it is versus a decent Arizona defense. And now here in Week 16, if you need a quarterback in your championship or a third-round placement game, Jalen Hurts, he's going to be a big get versus the Dallas Cowboys, and I think he could have another huge game. So Hurts, he's been on this waiver list a few times now over the last few weeks, and he's still available in 61%, so he's the first quarterback. The second one's Philip Rivers of the Indianapolis Colts. Rivers, he's been on this list 5 or 6 weeks in a row now, and Rivers still produces, but owners are still not adding him, and he's available in 56% of fantasy leagues. And yesterday versus Houston, a great ball game for Philip Rivers with 228 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And now here in Week 16, if you need a quarterback, it's going to be a tough matchup at Pittsburgh. But Philip Rivers now with 7 games in a row over 20 fantasy points, and even versus a tough Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I believe he could put up over 20 once again, even though they give up the second least amount of fantasy points to defenses. But I still like Rivers. The third guy's Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins. Tua with another pretty decent game yesterday versus the New England Patriots. Even though his passing yards weren't great, he had 20 fantasy points, 2 rushing touchdowns, a 2-point conversion, 145 yards passing, and an interception. And Tua this week in Week 16 has a great matchup versus the Vegas Raiders that give up the 13th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Tua, I could see him have a game from anywhere 20 to 30 fantasy points, and especially in 2 quarterback leagues, it's a great matchup. It's a Saturday game as well, and Tua, he's available in 79% of fantasy leagues, so I think he's going to be a good start next week at Vegas. The fourth guy is Baker Mayfield of the Cleveland Browns. Baker with another solid ball game on Sunday Night Football versus the New York Giants. Mayfield, he's still available in a bunch of fantasy leagues at 53%, and he's got a great matchup versus the Jets this week. Baker went for 297, 2 touchdowns, and 11 rushing yards. So in Week 16, Baker, he's got the matchup that could factor into you winning a championship this season. So I like the matchup. He's a good add, and he's available in a bunch of leagues. And the fifth and final quarterback I would add on waivers this week is Marcus Mariota of the Las Vegas Raiders. Mariota, he looked good in his relief duty at Derek Carr, who got injured with a groin injury in that game versus the Chargers. He finished with 226 passing yards, an interception, 88 rushing yards, and a touchdown. So Mariota with a 30-point fantasy game. And this week, if he does play, which he should versus Miami, I don't think Carr will heal in time before Saturday. It's a good matchup. Miami, they give up a decent amount of fantasy points to quarterbacks, but I think Mariota, with his running ability and his freestyle of play, I think he can have a 20-point fantasy game versus Miami, so he's a guy to keep in mind. But the first 4 guys, I would go in order before him, so that's 5 quarterbacks I would add here heading into Week 16.